Hello lovely people, I'm Jessica, a disabled YouTuber. Yes, I do refer to myself in that way, and yes, it is okay for you to do so too. A disabled YouTuber who's making a series about finally getting my first powered mobility aid. You can watch the series so far by clicking the card above or going to the link in the description below. In short, I've recently come to the conclusion that a powered mobility aid would be a good idea for me. I have these weak, wobbly feet and hands, plus painful joints and chronic fatigue, and I love going to new places, but I find it really hard when I can't actually move around very easily. I look lovely standing up, see my Instagram. I just can't do it for very long and I can't get very far. I spent most of my time in this series kind of wobbling, pun now intended, wobbling between a mobility scooter and a power chair. I want something that I can use easily inside my house, but I also want something I can use on pavements, maybe even off-road. In other words, I wanted a unicorn. Don't tell me unicorns can't live inside a house. They're unicorns. They can grow and shrink at will. As a lot of you has noticed and mentioned in the comments, both here and on Twitter, usually people make these choices with the help of an occupational therapist. Occupational therapy being the use of assessment and intervention to develop, recover, or maintain the activities considered meaningful to those with bodies that are a little different to the default. I have quite complex needs and an ongoing health condition that is doing its own thing most of the time. I know I talked about this in my last video called I Was Misdiagnosed, and I will also put that in the card above, and thank you so much for the amazing comments, but I've been having a bit of a difficult time accessing things like occupational therapy or physiotherapy because you have to go through your doctor, and I was told in the past that those services aren't available to me in terms of the day-to-day living things I need, but only when I actually injure myself, which sure is pretty often, but the wait list is 6 months. So I decided to figure it out by myself, whether a power chair or a mobility scooter would be the best option for me, by renting one of each for a week. Then that makes sense. Except that I then got freaked out by how medicalised the first power chair I rented was, so then I only used it once, and then I hired another one for the event that I had to go to, because apparently my medical trauma isn't going anywhere, and it even overrides my incredibly stingy side, which balked at the idea of having to spend another £350. Yes, I know, they're aware they have a captured market. Which did I choose? Well, oh well. It really did turn out rainbows in the end, and you'll just have to keep watching to find out. Even though I made my journey without the help of an occupational therapist, I didn't want you to miss out on the important info, so with the help of Twitter, I connected with an expert online. Jo Southall is an OT who, through her online business, offers a range of services and is an expert in complex long-term conditions. I hired her for half an hour's chat in order to get some professional answers for us all. Wow, so I had absolutely no idea that it was possible to talk to an occupational therapist over a video call. I actually had no idea you could even privately see an occupational therapist.
So probably the reason why you weren't aware it was available via video call is because, to the best of my knowledge, I'm the only one in the UK doing it. I think there's one in America and one in South Africa. Some of us will offer things like this if you request it, but it's not standard service to offer yet. I'm hoping it will be. I spend quite a lot of time at conferences trying to convince people to do things this way because better, as far as I'm concerned.
It's the future.
It is, absolutely.
As I mentioned earlier, I think a large part of my struggle to receive help is because I have very complex needs. And from my experience, it feels like people with one problem may have a doctor that knows which clinics they then need to be referred to, whilst I've spent my life with a nerve doctor saying it's a tissue problem and a tissue doctor saying it's a nerve problem. Obviously, that isn't everyone's experience, but there are a lot of people with complex needs who feel like they kind of fall through the gaps. So my experience with occupational therapy in the past has always been like an accident that I've had. I've not been able to just receive day-to-day help.
That's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, because there is a massive kind of gap for people in general. So I fall into that bracket as well, where I've got a lot of chronic stuff that I was born with that got progressively worse or progressively more complicated. There wasn't really a service that fit my needs unless there was an acute element to it. So I could have a genetic disorder, but I also had to fall down the stairs. Social services is available for a lot of people, and they'll send OTs to come out and visit you for long-term health conditions. But again, that tends to be focused on the very, very basics of life, like can you get up and dressed, can you get in and out of your house, and can you make a sandwich and a cup of tea? And the budget for anything more fulfilling than the absolute basics tends to be a little bit limited. So
with that in mind, and for those of you who are watching this video because maybe you're searching for your own mobility aid, here's how you can find a local OT and what the process is like. Also, you can go online. Who knew? Not me.
Where would you advise that people go, or the keywords that they should be searching to find an occupational therapist?
So I generally always recommend that if a person can get NHS help, they do, simply because I'm aware that a lot of people have a lot of ongoing health needs. NHS wheelchair services is available. Referral process varies from sort of county to county. There are kind of groups of people that just don't meet the criteria for wheelchair services that do then end up either seeking support from other wheelchair users online or coming to somebody like me. A lot of the kind of big wheelchair suppliers around the world, their staff is primarily made up of wheelchair users. And it is kind of worth looking into places like this, just mobility showrooms, and just seeing if you can find some of the bigger places. Definitely worth kind of talking to these guys to see if you actually need somebody like me.
The funny thing is, I originally thought that Joe might be able to help me choose between the power chair that I really liked and the mobility scooter I really liked. The wheelchair I like folds, it's pretty light, it's small enough to go through normal door frames, I can use it indoors, in a tube station, on the train. The power chair I want, on the other hand, is great for trips to the park or the local shops. It can easily handle pavements, I wasn't going to fall off it, I could even put Claudia on it with me if I wanted, and it's really gorgeous. So I scheduled the call with Joe, but then Green Power said they'd send me a mobility scooter. I too am shocked. Hello, so I'm about to go out for the very first time on my new mobility scooter and I'm very excited, but I'm also slightly nervous because, as Claudia pointed out, it just looks like a regular motor scooter because it's gorgeous and I'm really pleased about that, but also potentially a bad thing because maybe people will say, hey, you can't bring this in the park, or you're not allowed this on the pavement, even though you are allowed to actually drive it on the pavement. I haven't driven on a road in about 10 years. Thanks. She's been doing some great support this morning, by which I mean she's been like, yeah, you should probably worry that people won't allow it. And I'm like, ah. We're going to have a great day out to the park. The unique 500 electric mobility scooter from Green Power has a beautiful vintage design and it comes in a range of colours, and unfortunately the white was not available to send to me, I imagine because it's understandably probably very popular. It has an amazingly long running range of 45 miles per full charge. Thank goodness, because Claudia definitely does not want to push that one up a hill. It can easily reach the max allowed speed for mobility scooters and it doesn't feel like it's killing itself to get there. Have I mentioned that it's beautiful? This retro goddess has both front and rear suspension, so your little bottom won't feel a thing as you go over bumps, unlike some other models. The headlights are adorable, the rear view mirrors are adorable, the padded seat is comfortable, it has front and back handbrakes. The only issue I found was that everyone else seemed to realise it was a mobility scooter and therefore allowed in the park. We're back from the park! And we almost didn't film anything whilst we were there because there were lots and lots of people at the park.
It's been raining all weekend and today's the first morning where it was like not raining. And then everyone kept stopping you and being like, oh, what is that? Is that a motorbike? Is that a...
And just like, also staring quite weirdly.
Feeling like they could touch it. It was a bit weird, wasn't it?
A lot of the kind of older women were glaring at me quite a lot, I felt like, because they were like, why are you driving a motorbike in the park? This is definitely not allowed.
Well, either they thought you were driving a motorbike in the park and thought that's not allowed, or they thought you were on a mobility scooter, but you obviously don't need it, so you're just trying to like get a cool one.
Maybe they thought that we were just there to do a photo shoot.
But then I think they thought, why have they got their two dogs with them if they're doing a photo shoot? Is it wrong to say that if you were like an old lady,
basically me
Yeah.
But in
then
50 years' time.
Then I think that would look cool. Oh, look at that cute old lady on that.
Reclaiming her youth. Look at her go.
Yeah, but because you're already like a cool, trendy, attractive young woman, to be on such a like attractive, young, trendy looking mobility scooter as well, I don't know, it's like, it's a weird message. People don't know how to read it. Like you said, like, I think people were a bit intimidated by you rather than...
I mean, normally when I went to the park before in the mobility scooter that we rented and in the chair, people are quite nice. Like they smiled a lot.
Yeah.
And this time I did not feel that. I felt like... Now, the going outside part was taken care of. I actually had therefore budget to buy a really good power chair. I know, I'm stunned too. So I started to look for a chair that I could use inside, and I went back through all of the comments on both Instagram and the video so far, and I found...
Not at all scared. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's done.
The PW999UL, I still think they could have come up with another name, is listed for sale on a number of websites, including wheelchair88.com, the Malaysian company who actually make the chair. And yes, I too like the poetry of it being from Malaysia. My wife is half Malaysian, if you didn't know. But I had never heard of the company before and I felt a little iffy about it. So I decided to buy through Amazon, whose return service I have used before and who advertised in British pounds. I was advised that the delivery would take a month and fully expected to not hear back for quite a while, but whoa! I pressed buy in the evening and at 9 a.m. the next morning, my phone rang with someone from Wheelchair88 confirming my order and that I was eligible for VAT relief. In the UK, disabled people don't need to pay VAT on medical-related equipment. The equipment itself is still really expensive. There's a heavy element of gatekeeping as not everyone has a piece of paper that proves they're in need. And I genuinely have no idea why VAT is put on it in the first place because who buys a wheelchair for fun? But it's generally a good thing, so. After the call, an email was sent with a form that asked for my measurements, which hand I used, and the plug socket that I would need. And that was that, until 12 hours later when Amazon informed me that my parcel had shipped. I know, I too was shaken. A week later, a delivery man hefted a very large parcel into my hallway but the chair has actually arrived. I mean, when did I order this? 12 days ago? Here, already. And now we're going to open it up and I'm very, very excited and also a little bit nervous. You can't just stab things! The speed appears to be on 5, so let's... Alright, it's on speed 1. Hello. I am really happy with the chair. It handles bumps and different surfaces, even seemingly steep inclines with ease. It didn't take too long after opening the package to actually work out the controls, as they're really intuitive, which I like so much better than using both hands to steer. And they're not kidding about you being able to fold it in less than a minute. I have now got the knack. I am so excited to try my first trip to London with a power chair. It's going to make travelling so much easier. I will film the whole ride on my Instagram stories, and I'm also going to put it in this month's Weekenders video, which is a special behind the scenes video that the members of my Kellgren-Fozard club get every month. And if you would like to watch that and all of the other secret videos I put out over the last year, then click the join button below. It was only with help from the Kellgren-Fozard club that I was able to purchase this chair, which is amazingly wonderful of them, and I am so grateful. The only drawback is black. But I know a few of you have leads on really good places that I can get her a makeover, so expect an episode of Pimp My Chair in the new year. Please do leave any suggestions on what you think my chair should look like in the comments below. I'm intrigued as to what you think. Yay, the end of the video! Only kidding. Remember how I mentioned that electric tricycles are amazing and could work as a mobility aid and I really want one? Well... Oh yes, your Vic were listening. They sent me one and I am in love.
I just went to the park. I cycled to the park all by myself from our house for the first time ever. I've never done that. And it was fine on our road to start with because there are no cars on our road. But then I got onto a bigger road and I was like, oh, there's a bus. I don't know whether you did that cycling class in primary school, they tell you how to cycle on a road, but I didn't, because I can't ride a bike. I was a bit scared and I went on the pavement. But people didn't seem to mind, they were very sweet, I think because it looked so nice. They just stopped and stared at it anyway, which is quite good. But I'm really proud of myself. I feel quite accomplished. It's the first time I've ever ridden a bike and not fallen off or crashed into something or in some way injured myself. Anyway, it feels really good. Look at me go. Oh, and other exciting things about it, right? So, I didn't realise this. When you turn it onto electric, you can make it move by twiddling the handle. You don't need to move your legs at all. So at one point I got a bit stuck because I had the back legs in a dip and I wasn't strong enough to use my little legs to power it out. I just turned on the power, twizzled the handle, and the bike just got out of the hole. I didn't even have to use my legs. It's amazing. Let's go. About this bike is that I just don't feel like I'm going to fall off. I feel really safe. I've never felt that on a bike before, for obvious reasons.
I love this tricycle. I can't ride a bike because my balance is terrible. And the bit of my brain that's meant to like retain muscle memory just doesn't work. But this bike was really easy to use, even with just one hand. And I never felt in danger and lots of people gave me compliments. There are only two minuses in that sometimes when you pull on the brake, you kind of accidentally rev the bike at the same time, but that only applies when the electric bit is on. And the second, I have no idea how gears work. Claudia has explained this to me 3 times about why you go up or you go down gears, but it will not stick in my brain. And if you have a really useful mnemonic for remembering gears, then please leave it in the comments below because I'm lost. Obviously, the tricycle only works for me when both my legs are working. So since my condition is very variable, yeah, that's my life, like this, exactly this. I am very happy to have 3 aids for the various degrees of my body not working. Not working to the general extent that I have low energy, injured to the extent that I can't walk far or well, and then, no, I'm going nowhere unassisted. Obviously, it's not going to be practical or affordable for most people to have more than one powered aid. It's not even affordable for me. But I'm really grateful that I don't have to struggle along anymore and that I will have greater independence and that I can go for country bike rides with my wife without crashing into a tree. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Oh gosh. Whoa, it's that bit where Jessica gets emotional. Rein it in. I am very thankful to Green Power, Jorvik and the Kellgren-Fozard Club for making this possible for me. And the takeaway lesson here is that if you can't find a unicorn, get a stable of horses. That's obviously not the takeaway lesson here. Make of it what you will. I really hope that through my very stumbling journey, you've managed to find some information that's useful for your own path, or maybe you've just learned something about a topic that you hadn't considered before. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Only one left before Vlogmas. Mwah!